Hi, my name is Kay Lathrop, and I want to welcome you all to this very special webinar today, where we're going to be talking about one of our favorite things, solving problems. Problems that you might have in your chiropractic practice, and problems your practice members have with their health. Our webinar today is called How SCENAR Has Expanded Chiropractic Practice. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge you for being here today. Every time you participate in any training regarding your craft, it counts. And I want you to know that it is possible that you'll hear something today that will result in a permanent positive change in your practice. In fact, we're going to be sharing some stories of some clients of ours that are likely just like your practice members that had never heard of the SCENAR before, got treatment, and it significantly changed their health. As well, we're going to share the stories of two different chiropractors who had not used SCENAR before, who then brought the technology into their practice through our program, who received training and support from us, and then how SCENAR significantly expanded their practices. This webinar is for you if you have practice members with challenging pain problems or unresolved chronic injuries. It's for you if you want to attract new practice members or patients who can become pain-free, drug-free. Do you know how big this problem is and how many people need your help? Chronic pain affects over 100 million adults in the US. That's more than 40% of the population. It's the leading reason that people go to doctors, and they aren't helping them with their drugs, injections, and surgery options. Not like you can. You're going to stay and watch if you're open to rehabilitation modalities like SCENAR that can help your practice members achieve their goal of being pain-free, injury-free, and functioning again at a high level, enjoying their life. You're someone who likely strives to achieve expert status in your field. Perhaps you want to be recognized for it. And more importantly, maybe you want to receive leads as a result of it. You're someone who's open to additional streams of revenue for your practice. And certainly, you're staying and watching if you're a lifelong learner, always open to learning what might benefit you as you perfect your craft and improve the outcomes that your patients or your practice members experience. And I notice as I'm talking with you, I'm interchanging that word patient and practice member. We know some chiropractors who don't use that word patient any longer. We know a number that do. And so you might hear me use one of those words or the other. Now, we want you to know that we consider your time very valuable. And we're only interested in working with chiropractors who really want to up their game. We're committed to helping our clients achieve their practice goals. Now, in saying we, I want to introduce you to Dr. Peter Lathrop. You actually see us both here on the slide. Peter is the scientific, clinical, and technical expert, and he's going to deliver the lion's share of today's content. Peter?
Hello, everyone. In just a moment, I'm going to share with you my story of how during my 30-plus year career in pain management and neuromuscular injury repair, I consistently partnered with chiropractors and why. I will also share with you my story of my results with clients and how they were transformed when I adopted the SCENAR in 2008. After years of developing and using other electromedicine devices, and why I am now teaching SCENAR to practitioners around the country.
And as a former nurse, as well as a medical device industry executive, I'm going to share with you my story of how and what I learned about regenerative electromedicine after spending 10 years working for the market leader in the implantable neuromodulation world, working with implantable spinal cord stimulators and implantable drug infusion pumps. You've probably seen these Maybe you have some practice members or patients with them. I'm also going to share information with you at the end of the webinar that will help you access a consultation with one of our experts so you can learn how SCENAR could expand your practice. Yes, you heard right. No sales offer on this webinar, nothing to buy. So clear any distractions you have and let's pick up the pace.
I don't think I need to read to you my educational progression. You can see it on the screen in front of you. Yes, I was a perpetual student, one with a purpose, and that was to design and develop medical devices that would interface with the nervous system to stop pain and accelerate the healing of injuries, and to use them in practice to achieve those results. These two things have been constant over the past 35 years of my career. Right out of my postdoctorate work, I was asked by the founder of Medtronic, Earl Bakken, to help them develop a device to prove the concept of Melzack and Wall's gate control theory of pain. We did, developing the first commercial TENS unit. I'm sure you've all heard of TENS units. I now tell people to put them away in the drawer. They are first-generation electromedicine. While they stop pain signals from going to the PAG, so pain is not felt, they actually slow down the tissue healing. Once we discovered that fact, I was on to help co-develop microcurrent therapy with the grandfather of microcurrent, Dr. Thomas Wing, then interferential units and laser units, etc. I have several patents in the field. I adopted the use of the Russian scanner in the late 2000s, leaving behind what I had co-developed, as well as my ego, as it gave me a more efficient, rapid response. I haven't found anything to replace it yet, and I haven't had an idea about how to improve or change or replace it. So I continue to use it today myself, and I am excited to teach its use to others like yourself. A significant part of my clinical career has been working side by side with chiropractors, as you can see from the slide. These are just a few of the chiropractors I've worked with. Michael Blott was the first one I worked with in the 80s. We had an office together for 2.5 years. For me, it was a no-brainer to partner with chiropractors. My specialty was neuromuscular soft tissue injury, treating the pain and accelerating the body's self-repair of the injury with electromedicine. Their specialty is to correct structural alignment for good flow of signal and to improve the body's function. Everything starts with the nervous system, right? Chiropractic and regenerative electromedicine go hand in hand with each other. Recovery actually accelerates when both are performed, as you will soon see. It became exciting over the past couple of years partnering with my colleague, Dr. Anna Phillips. Anna is a chiropractor who also specializes in ART, active release technique. She has discovered the power of SCENAR in combination with ART and has recently purchased a professional scanner herself. We aren't in the same office as of late, so she's going to take on my work directly, and I'm delighted. I became a level 3 master trainer designated by the manufacturer, RITM OKB, in 2014. I appreciate the relationship I have developed with the management team in Russia, as well as SCENAR therapists around the globe. RITM OKB surprised me this past year by putting my picture on some of their materials distributed globally. We have a high level of respect for each other and each other's work.
Well, as you can see, I began my career as a registered nurse. And I did that for about 7 years. And then I left bedside nursing. I left nursing management to work in the medical device industry, specifically at the very young neurological division of Medtronic Incorporated that back then solely focused commercially on pain. And we had 2 implantable devices, the spinal cord stimulator and the implantable drug infusion pump. And in that pump, our customers dispensed intraspinal morphine and other cocktails of drugs. Later on, we began working with other neurological indications as well. So we began, if you will, the pain clinic industry, as we needed practitioners to implant the devices. Surgeons told us it was too easy and it didn't give them enough reimbursement. So we encouraged anesthesiologists to pass less gas, as we said, and to become pain management doctors. We taught the classic pain treatment continuum, where our devices came at the end, after everything else was exhausted with a patient. However, when I look back now, given what I know now about regenerative electromedicine, I know far more devices were implanted than are needed back then and even still now. Pain clinics are on every corner, it seems, and they're not all needed either. I see a lot I would like to undo, and yet because I can't go back, I just see now a lot of change that gets to happen in order to help people get access to pain relief without drugs, injections, implantables, or surgery in just so many of the cases. Within our company, given the totality of my background, I am responsible for the business side of the business, serving our customers to the best of our ability, making sure they get the support they need, as well as actively developing and delivering education, training, and coaching programs, given my love of health and teaching. So Peter and I are committed to do our best today to deliver on 3 outcomes for the webinar. If you want to make note of these, I recommend you jot them down. The first one is we're going to share with you how SCENAR stops pain and helps the body to heal faster and more completely in both acute and chronic injury. And we're going to be using some very specific case examples as we teach. We're going to be looking at acute soft tissue sprains and tears. We're going to be looking at chronic neuromuscular injuries like rotator cuff tears. We're going to be looking at herniated discs as well as migraine headaches. Once we've made it through the clinical and technical portion of the webinar, we're going to make a shift to taking a look at the business side of your business. And our objective is going to be to share how SCENAR can help you grow or strengthen your practice. And then finally, we're going to share information on how you can request a consultation with one of our experts to learn specifically how this could work for you in your practice. So let's talk just a minute about right place and right time. We shared with you our backgrounds. We aren't chiropractors, and yet throughout his career, Peter, Dr. Lathrop, I might use either one interchangeably, has partnered with chiropractors. So we've gained a great understanding of the business of chiropractic. We've also really made it a point to stay abreast of what's happening in chiropractic today. And we believe it has never been more important than right now to create ways to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Whether you're someone who's just beginning in practice, or if you have years of experience, as a chiropractor, you face challenges as you build and grow your practice. You also have exciting new opportunities to really thrive as the healthcare field changes. The key is addressing the challenges in new ways and evolving, adapting, leading in the always changing healthcare field. In 2013, one of your own, Dr. Jeffrey Tucker of West Los Angeles, shared his observations on how to structure, create, balance, and access the modern chiropractic office. The article was in DF Practice Insights magazine. You might have seen it. It was called The Modern Office, What's Ahead for 2013. The article has been shared in numerous places ever since it was first published, and we can share a link with you. One of the most obvious things he said that he saw in chiropractors was a group of healers looking to find ways to heal the physical, psychological, and spiritual wounds of our clients. We certainly know that about chiropractors. Dr. Tucker talks about a trend we're seeing, which is why that we're actually talking to you today. Do you agree with him when he says that he sees a trend away from only using adjustments and manipulation toward the recognition of the importance of using an integrative approach, combining the solid craft of your skilled hands with modern technology and experiential discovery, because craft alone is not enough? In the article, he indicated the evolving trend is a shift away from making X-ray markings and manipulation-only practices to really learning cutting-edge nutritional information, functional movement assessments, using remedial exercises and more advanced exercises to improve body movement, all the while shifting to the patient's personal responsibility for improvement of their health. And he also talked about how chiropractors need to keep up with the pace of increased innovation, from how you and your office communicate, to systems that integrate exams and treatment notes and nutrition diaries, to applications of computers, and along with that, a variety of different tools and devices. And he said in this article, scanner devices. So let's tell you about SCENAR so you can see why it's on the list of innovations that Dr. Tucker writes about.
So what is SCENAR? The picture you see on the screen is of the RITM SCENAR Pro Plus. We're going to focus on the technology of the device today and leave the specific detailed features to be discussed when you have your demo session or consultation. So what does SCENAR stand for? It is an acronym. Let's break it down. SC stands for self-controlled. The SCENAR device establishes a biofeedback link with the body when in use, constantly changing the properties of the applied electrical impulses in response to the measured reaction from the body. EN, energo-neuro. The effect of SCENAR is based on electric impulses of a specific shape, patterned after the natural nerve impulses of the human body. AR, adaptive regulator. The SCENAR device not only provides direct therapeutic effect, but also activates the natural defenses of the body. We pronounce the device name like SCENAR, as in this way, it's what the device does. It scans the body consistently through a session, and it activates the natural mechanisms of the body. The spelling of SCENAR with an E, you may notice, is actually the way the Russians pronounce it. They pronounce SCENAR as SCENAR, scanner, just like the word for scanning a document. So the proper pronunciation is SCENAR. Just to let you know, the SCENAR technology relies on the body's mechanism of adaptation, ensuring dynamic equilibrium and homeostasis. As you know, regulation of the body's vital functions happens through the close connection and interaction of the nervous and endocrine systems. This interaction results in the release of biologically active chemical modulators called neuromediators. Examples of these mediators are amines, amino acids, purine, nucleotides, and neuropeptides like enkephalin, neuropeptide Y, substance P, neurotensin. The neuropeptides in SCENAR therapy are the most important chemical modulators. Neuropeptide-producing nerve fibers make up more than 70% of the body's neural tracts and can therefore be stimulated from many areas on the skin. The main goal for a practice member in pain is to have the pain eliminated and then go to have healing to take place in the tissue. The main goal, thus, of scanner therapy is to induce the secretion of a sufficient amount of neuropeptides to relieve the pain and initiate the body's repair process or sequence in the body. This happens through these three key characteristics of scanner, which we have outlined here and which we will cover more in depth one by one. The first is active feedback mechanisms, then the bipolar electrical impulses, and lastly, what is termed individually dosed influence. So the first and most unique characteristic of scanner is that it can induce changes in the parameters of its impulse automatically and in accordance with the body's response to the device. While other conventional therapeutic devices are passive, scanner involves active reflex biofeedback, which means that the device communicates actively with the processes that are happening in the body. The scanner device does this by monitoring the skin's impedance and then changes the electrical impulse it emits accordingly. Therefore, active reflex biofeedback means that maximal therapeutic effectiveness can be achieved. The second key characteristic of scanner is the bipolar electric impulses. The characteristics of the scanner impulse are such that the probability of excitation of the thin neuropeptides secreting neural fibers is higher than conventional methods of electrotherapy that you might have some familiarity with. Scanner enables a maximal part of the nervous tissue to be activated, especially the small nociceptive fibers, which have a higher threshold of excitation. This is necessary for the achievement of optimal response from the client's body with regard to the neuropeptide release. Furthermore, scanner is a system of monitoring and response. The body creates electromagnetic and acoustic fields. In a pathological state, these fields are modified. It's these signals that are detected by the scanner and are used to form the therapeutic impulses. Scanner, therefore, enables a unique interaction between the device and the person's body. The electrical signals generated by the scanner device are similar in form to the body's own endogenous neurological impulses. In this way, the body does not recognize them as foreign or invasive. Therefore, negative side effects as a result of the therapy are rare. And the high initial impulse stimulates neuropeptide release from C fibers more easily than low amplitude stimulation. The third key characteristic of scanner is what is termed individually dosed influence. Scanner can be used regardless of the pain diagnosis. It does, however, highly depend on the ability and the speed of the person's body to react to the scanner signal. The scanner device measures the skin impedance and its changes in regular intervals, which is displayed on the LCD screen as the IR, or initial reaction, which you see here in this picture as number 21. The scanner device also calculates the estimated total impedance change at the area under the electrode. When a certain percentage of the total impedance change is achieved, the device indicates that with an audible dose signal and a reading on the LCD screen. The time of reaching a dose can be between a few seconds and up to 15 minutes, although that's very rare, depending on how well the patient reacts to the scanner signal. However, it must be noted that the optimum therapeutic results are always dependent upon the body's response and is therefore individual to each person. As the scanner device monitors and evaluates treatment results, it independently delivers the correct impulse without the possibility of overdosing, and hence causing little or no side effects. Clinical experience with this device has further indicated that the optimal therapeutic effect is achieved when there is a maximal variability of the impulse during treatment. Now that you've heard a bit about what the scanner is and how it interacts with the body, Let's discuss the indications we mentioned as part of the first objective of this webinar. I'm going to start by sharing with you a significant client story. This is an acute, fresh soft tissue injury with the client coming in significant pain. His name is Antonio. Antonio presented at our office with extreme pain following an accident where, as a truck driver, he was hit by another vehicle at a fairly high speed. He had been to the ER and had an MRI. He had been to see a surgeon and wasn't sure he wanted surgery, which was suggested to him. He was very concerned about losing time off work, and he most wanted to get out of pain. This is all he understood at the time. He found us and asked to be treated. As you can imagine, by these MRI findings, he had severe left shoulder and left arm bicep pain, as well as very limited mobility. He had 3 tears in his shoulder and biceps tendon. Given our long-time use of the scanner, we shared with him what we thought was possible, and he elected to undergo treatment. He had 5 treatments within the first week with a significant reduction in his pain, and in fact, he went back to work at the end of the week. He continued 3 to 4 times per week, scanner treatments to the areas for another 3 weeks or so, and then was evaluated by Dr. Anna Phillips, my chiropractic partner, with these types of cases. He still had positive orthopedic tests, but had significant improvement, and she recommended he continue with scanner treatments. And he wholeheartedly agreed. He was making progress and working. 4 weeks later, he was re-examined by Dr. Phillips with these findings. Shoulder range of motion full, except for a slightly decreased external rotation in both shoulders. Cervical and shoulder range of motions were pain-free. All orthopedic tests were now negative. Muscle strength was 5+ with no pain. He was given stretching exercises and postural exercises to do at home and released from care. We remain in contact with Antonio and he remains in excellent health.
I think it's worthwhile pointing out that this was probably the most extreme or significant acute injury that we probably had over the last few years, isn't it?
Yeah, it was one of them. I have a lot of torn injuries, rotator cuffs, labrums, ACLs, etc. But this was pretty much hot off the wreck, as I call it, and an excellent opportunity to show the efficacy of the scanner in an acute state. Let's take a brief look at what is happening with a fresh acute injury, as we just spoke of. One way I describe a new or fresh tissue injury is like a pebble thrown in the middle of a still lake. When the pebble plops, see what happens? A small circle. An injury is just like this. It often starts as just a very tiny circle, even when there is a tear involved. As the minutes and hours pass, an injury grows like the circles in the lake. The initial plop of the tossed pebble is small and may ever increase as the circles grow to the lake shore. Injuries grow immediately through involvement of cell after nerve, muscle, and tendon and ligament fiber. Biochemicals gather about the injury to wall it off from the rest of the body, producing oftentimes very significant swelling and inflammation as a warning not to use the injured part. This walling off of the injured area is not entirely necessary today, as we, unlike the cavemen, have no need to keep fighting, surviving, or using the injured appendage to gather food or fight animals. Still, the injury grows, involving more and more tissue. It rapidly swells and becomes extremely painful. We are not able to use the injured part. Here you see a fresh shoulder injury and a knee injury treated in the traditional way with rice and the new scanner way on this screen in front of you. Rice, we know that. Rest, ice, elevation, compression has always been taught with the idea to halt the growth of the injury and to protect the injured part while the body heals it. We all know this and know the length of time it takes for this healing process to happen when the body is doing it on its own time. SCENAR assists the body in doing all of this much faster, more efficiently, without any negative side effect. The sooner an injury is treated with SCENAR, the quicker the pain will resolve and the body will commence its self-repair mechanisms. In fact, a fresh ankle sprain today treated with SCENAR can be virtually undetectable in 48 hours. And if it has been hours or days in between the injury and the SCENAR application, it still will rapidly help the body release endorphins to reduce the pain as it stimulates neuropeptides that clear the swelling and inflammation so healing can take place. In an ideal world, we are all carrying a SCENAR with us, and we have immediate access to someone who does, either one or the other. Now let's keep in mind that the SCENAR is FDA cleared for acute and chronic pain. It is years of use globally that are aware of these added benefits, which yet need to be fully studied for labeling changes to occur here in the United States. One more acute soft tissue injury client story to illustrate the points. Al owns a video game machine business. He provides them to restaurants, etc. That we have areas for kids. They are heavy machines. He has been prone to hurt himself. A friend of his referred him to me when he was badly sprained his knee moving inventory. In the past, he used ice, rested the injured part, and it would often take weeks for an injury to be gone and for him to feel like he could move freely and exercise again. This time he came in to see us and had 4 SCENAR treatments in a week's period. At the end of the week, he felt whole and actually started light exercise on his treadmill. Al had a similar injury many months later and came back to us again. He received treatment with successful results and began to see what it would be cost effective to have his own home unit SCENAR to treat himself, and to come to us as professionals for only real significant issues he couldn't manage. We will tell you later about the revenue stream you could have in helping some of your practice members have their own SCENARs. Now I'm going to shift the focus to chronic pain and soft tissue injuries versus acute. In this case, Rick presented complaining of soreness in his right shoulder. He had sustained an injury while playing baseball a few months prior, and his soreness was at a level 7, mostly when he was throwing. Otherwise, it was generally okay. The pain wasn't interfering with his daily activities, and yet it did interfere with his love of playing baseball. His goal was to play baseball, to throw without pain. To achieve the goal, he shared with us that he had chiropractic, acupuncture, exercise, and soft tissue work without any resolution, and he had gone to a surgeon to get an opinion. He knew of my work and also decided to come and see me.
SCENAR treatments were initiated per Rick's decision. An MRI that he had done to evaluate the anatomy showed a small posterior superior labral tear. Now, of course, Rick's doctors recommended surgery, and he elected to continue SCENAR treatments before committing to undergoing a surgical procedure. So Rick had SCENAR treatments on an average of 3 times a week for 3 months. And it is important for you to understand that this is a longer period of time than normal. And yet it was because Rick insisted on continuing to play baseball. Given the continued playing, which normally Peter doesn't allow with clients, Rick did make slow, but yet very steady progress. His range of motion improved quite significantly. He continued to have some pain, though, when throwing a baseball, so he decided he wanted to get another MRI just to see what was going on after having these SCENAR treatments. And his follow-up MRI actually showed no evidence of a labral tear. So it was suspected by Peter and his staff that the remaining discomfort that Rick was having from throwing was related to a frozen shoulder, and that if he had additional physical therapy on the shoulder, he'd be home free. And indeed, that was the case. In fact, he reported back to us that he was not only back on the field, but that he played in a tournament and the shoulder responded great. And we've seen him a number of times since then and over the years, and he's really just been great.
So let's look at chronic neuromuscular injuries briefly. Chronic, by definition, means an injury sustaining longer than 6 months. This period of time, and in many cases several years, allows the body to react to the injury in two major ways. One, the body relates to it as a neurophysiologic habit, meaning it accepts that the injury will be with it until further notice, and takes steps to accommodate it. Some of this is done by adding scar tissue for self-protection, thereby putting a strain on surrounding tissue. This all produces more pain and reduced range of motion. Two, not only that, but the cells in their computerized self-regulation mode create a memory of the current condition. The cells see the body as what it is and recreate it every minute, every hour, every week, every month, every year, just as it is now. This is done at the cellular level because the cell only knows what it is at the present moment and reproduces itself accordingly. Yes, the cells have memory, and all they know is to produce the memory they have. Until the memory is changed as a result of changing the cell function from diseased to healthy, it will reproduce the same system time after time after time. So our job is to break the code by inserting a new one, which is reparative signal, and change the memory to the positive result of that process. This is how we help the body with its own mechanisms of pain relief and self-repair. Now, a brief pause here to address this real issue, and I know I may be preaching to the choir here, and yet this has to be said in the context of this webinar and topic as a whole. The following statement is taken from my new book, Modern Electromedicine, on Amazon.com, and it's in my foreword, I believe. The currently held American belief regarding pain is that it should be managed instead of obliterated. This pain management philosophy is so prevalent, as you know, among the current allopathic medical establishment, as they promote managing pain or reducing pain through drugs and surgery. The question that comes to my mind after saying this is, why would one want to manage anything that is so alien to a normal, happy life? It is my understanding all along that we manage only those things that are necessary for our ongoing existence and lifestyle. So where is the paradox here, and how do we solve it? Maybe it is that I have found so often in my career, current medical science is not all that it's cracked up to be. If pain management is all they have to offer, so if we're suffering from a chronic, debilitating pain problem, do we want to mask it with a drug that will cause us to lead a limited life, both mentally and physically, and more importantly, become addicted to the very process? I have spent a great deal of time over the years helping people with pain resulting from failed surgeries or their painful after effects. As you know, surgery is not a simple, precise laser beam treatment which efficiently corrects a problem, leaving no collateral damage behind. Surgery is an invasive, traumatic, and destructive assault on the body, especially when nerves and spinal columns are involved. There are lasting effects of this in many cases. including scar tissue and other collateral damage, such as reduced neuromuscular function. So how do we solve the previously stated paradox? It might be through technology which has been developed for over 35 years in Russia and in America at the same parallel time and rate. This is called electromedicine. In America, this discovery was made by myself, my colleagues, and other scientists working together to develop electrotherapy technology to not only stop pain, but speed the healing process of neuromuscular injuries. In Russia, it was discovered by two neuroscientists, Alexander Karasev and Alexander Ravenko. Both physicians in Russia use this technology on a daily basis. The paradox is solved by the application of an electronic signal to a pain site and the involved tissue. This process accomplishes two things at once. It stops the pain immediately, and it rapidly speeds the healing process of the offending cause of pain. This form of therapy eliminates the need for narcotics and their debilitating effects, surgery in many cases, and a life of an invalid. From a fresh injury perspective, it stops the growth process of the injury and releases the body's abilities to repair the damage at a cellular level.
Well, I, for one, glad that you have a focus on pain gone versus pain management. It makes me always want to share Lisa's story, so I'm going to do that. Lisa was diagnosed with an impingement and rotator cuff tendonitis in May 2009. And I want you to keep that date in mind, 2009. She was having pain and she was having popping at her right shoulder. And in her words, she said, "On that day, I began a long, exhausting journey on the road to finally healing my shoulder. Had I known what I know now, it never had to be that way or take that long." Her initial injury happened a couple months prior while she was doing front raises with dumbbells. And she kept coaching and playing volleyball and softball after this, all because it was part of her job. And you probably have clients like that who keep doing things because they feel like they have to. Serving proved to be quite excruciating, and she endured it for a few months until she could actually get in to see her doctor. And her first round of x-rays, and it was just x-rays, revealed some arthritis. She did have some tendinitis, and she had some range of motion tests. They told her she had an impingement. They didn't do any soft tissue imaging like an MRI. The doctor sent her to physical therapy, and she said by the end of the PT, she was no better than when she started. So she started researching and tried all kinds of things, programs, exercising, icing, resting, stretching, anything to make it better. But let's step forward 3 years. By 2012, she was no better, and the chronic injury was continuing to interfere with her professional life. And this is very common for people to spend this amount of time nursing an injury along, as I know you know. So in 2012, Lisa went and saw a sports doctor, and she actually asked for an MRI. And on the slide, you will see the findings that it brought forth. She was referred to an orthopedic surgeon. The surgeon wasn't sure really that she needed a surgery. He suggested a cortisone shot, and she didn't really want one. She agreed to have one. She said it didn't really do anything. If anything, she said it made it worse. And the last appointment with the surgeon left her with this: you could try surgery, or you could live with the shoulder as it is. Because as he put it, it wasn't that bad. And he said the surgery only had a 50-50 chance of improving anything, and she would be out of commission for months while she recovered. She said no thanks, and she continued to seek help working with 2 different chiropractors, and she also had acupuncture with no results. So enter her then discovering Peter and discovering SCENAR in his hands. And Peter indicated that the shoulder could heal quite quickly without surgery. He told her everything about SCENAR, and she said, you know, I was indeed very curious, but I was also skeptical after all I had been through. But she did say yes and did everything that he asked of her while she went through about 6 weeks of SCENAR treatment. Dr. Anna Phillips then evaluated her shoulder, recommended that she finish off the recovery with just a few ART sessions, which Lisa did. And then she reported things like doing push-ups in her new boxing class without any pain, holding her shoulders up and tight in a boxing stance, and being able to punch without pain, and just getting stronger and stronger. She said shortly thereafter, I can now do pull-ups and throw a ball again. My pain is gone. I can move. I don't think about my shoulder anymore. I never thought that day would come. As a fitness trainer, Lisa is a big SCENAR advocate now. She owns a scanner. She regularly uses it, and she offers her services through a chiropractic office.
Now let's look at the third condition we told you we would explore. Your favorite and mine, herniated discs. A different kind of source of pain. Pain from a bulging or herniated disc. How many of those have we seen? As we all know, a disc that has been pushed out of the intervertebral space, bulging or herniated, generally causes pain and dysfunction as it abrades the spinal cord or impinges a nerve, probably the sciatic one. Using the scanner to treat the pain electronically reverses the polarity of the disc vis-a-vis the surrounding tissue. By doing this, as well as reducing inflammation in the surrounding area, the disc will return to its proper place, providing there is enough room in the intervertebral space to accept it. There's your job. Provide the space. This is another reason why the chiropractor and scanner are a good team. We both have things to do. In my experience, it takes about 6 weeks to accomplish this positive change, depending on the initial extent of the protrusion. And you can see here in these before and after pictures, a significant change occurs in the disc protrusion. Let me take a moment to share a case with you along these lines. In this case, Geraldo presented complaining of muscle spasms in his neck with his pain level at 8. He also complained of sharp, constant pain at level 6 in his lower back, which radiated down his left leg. Sciatica, coming and going at level 8. He had been experiencing pain for about 5 years, having sustained injuries originally from several accidents in the past. He did continue to function and to work. He came in after hearing a radio show about this type of treatment by yours truly. He had utilized chiropractic adjustments for the problem without any long-term resolution of his pain. His goal was to be pain-free. Examination of his neck, back, and legs using the diagnostic settings of the scanner demonstrated inflammation in the lower C-spine, as well as at levels L4, L5, and S1. An aberrant nerve function in both legs. He had reduced range of motion throughout the spine given the pain and muscle spasm. As this was a chronic condition for him without any new components, further diagnostic tests were not desired by him. He chose to undergo treatment with scanner 3 times per week. He was also checked by my chiropractic partner, Dr. Farrell, for structural issues. In his 3 times per week scanner sessions, the signal was applied to his neck, cervical spine area, lower back, lumbar spine area, as well as his left leg. Over the course of treatment, he reported decreasing pain with increasing range of motion beginning to occur by the 4th treatment. He had a total of 16 treatments over a 5-week period and was fully satisfied that his goal was reached with good range of motion, without pain, and an overall pain-free state. He has not had a reoccurrence that we are aware of. Migraines, to move the pain area higher up, are debilitating and greatly compromise lives, as I know you know. Migraines are the most common type of headache that propel people to seek care from their doctors. Did you know roughly 30 million Americans suffer from migraine headaches, with women affected almost 3 times more often than men? These people you can help. Migraines are vascular headaches, but the exact cause is not fully understood. Some researchers believe that migraines occur as a result of inflammation causing blood vessels to swell and press on nerves, which can result in pain. The scanner is able to resolve them by reducing the inflammation, correcting the vascular constrictions, and normalizing the nervous system. I'll give you a short case study. I had a 20-year-old woman named Joy recently, and she had been suffering from migraines for most of her life. They would come every few days, and they would last for many, many hours or all day. I started treating her, and I treated her around her head and neck, occiput, and her frontal, temporal, parietal lobes. I did a course of treatment with the scanner that was pretty well designed to eliminate the vascularization, inflammation, and normalize the nerve transmission. As time went on, as the treatments progressed week by week by week, we saw her getting fewer headaches, and when they came, they were minimized. Till finally, several weeks, maybe 7 or 8 weeks after we began treatment, she woke up one morning to find that she had all of the symptoms of a pre-migraine condition. The dizziness, the visual aberrances, and the other signals that come with a migraine. And she had those for 2 or 3 minutes, she said, and then nothing. All went away. And that was her last experience with a migraine headache. And I've seen her since, and she's reported nothing. So she was very happy with that, and I was happy to be able to do it. I've had many clients with migraine conditions, treated them in a similar fashion. They've all responded well.
It's so great when we see people just get out of pain like that and get back to life. Okay, we're going to shift our focus, as we said that we're going to, after going through these 4 different types of pain or conditions and telling you about the scanner. So we're going to shift our focus to our second webinar objective, that of how SCENAR can help grow or strengthen your practice. As a business owner, I want you to tap into what's more important for your business right now as you're listening to the webinar. Is it acquiring new patients, or is it retaining and nurturing your current patient base? Now, if you're a startup, then naturally your initial objectives are to focus on new patient acquisition. And as the patient base increases, you're going to be shifting more of your focus to retention. Of course, all along, you want to be thinking about the experience that you're providing and that they're having, and you want to deepen the trust and the relationship that you have. If your startup days are behind you and your business is well established, chances are that you're growing your business, and growing your business will be cheaper and faster if you can retain and sell to your existing patient base. Now, this isn't to suggest that you need to abandon acquisition efforts completely, but you need to be focused on your existing patients. You may have heard that acquiring a new patient costs 5 to 10 times more than retaining one. So if you're fairly well established, really look at your focus and your marketing mix. Marketing data consistently shows that business owners of all type tend to obsess over acquisition. They tend to prioritize acquisition efforts over nurturing and deepening relationships with their most valuable and loyal patients. Is this your habit? Check in, make a note. In this part of the webinar, we're going to look at 2 key business principles in our time together. We're going to look at customer lifetime value, and we're going to look at product line extensions. The most difficult and expensive sale you ever make to a patient is the first one. In that first important transaction, you earn or you lose the trust of that person And I know you've all discovered that. Think back even to your own consumer experiences. Have you ever been a little concerned about your first purchase from a business? It might have been that florist delivery service that you've never used before, and it's an important holiday or event. Or maybe it was with a tradesperson that you decided to hire. Or maybe that first experience was regarding a product you were going to buy, a new computer, an air conditioning unit. One of the things to keep in mind is that once you have the trust of a customer, you open the door to many more sales and referrals. So that first experience is so important. As you gain patients or practice members into your business, one of the things that you want to know is the lifetime value of a patient. And why do you want to know the lifetime value of a patient? Ask yourself, do you know the lifetime value of your patient? If I were to come and ask you that, would you have that number top of mind? The lifetime value of a patient is the measure of the value of that patient to your practice. It is just like it says it is, right? It's the potential contribution of the patient to your practice over a period of time. When you know the lifetime value of a patient, you have an understanding and awareness of how much you would or should be willing to invest in order to acquire them. For example, let's take a look at Mary. Mary is a new patient. And in this chiropractic office, Mary spends an average of $111 on her first visit. And then she spends $65 a visit for her adjustments. Now you, as a business owner, you have a fixed cost to supply the service. And I know that that varies per office. You need to know what your fixed cost is. Now this office where Mary goes spends an average of $150 to acquire her as a patient. I want you to keep in mind that if you're in your first year or so, you're likely spending up to $300 to acquire a new patient. And this number is going to decrease as you grow. And I get all of these numbers from the statistics that are available in your chiropractic injury. So as we look at Mary and we look at all of these figures, we see at the outset, at the very beginning, right? There's no profit on Mary. However, as she begins to come in for adjustments, and studies actually show that it's an average of 17 to 20 visits per year. And she's spending $65 per visit. And then Mary begins to refer other people to your business. So essentially, you don't have any advertising cost in those people. So you start to see the benefit here. So when you evaluate the effectiveness of your marketing, instead of looking at that initial single transaction up front, you focus on the lifetime return for the investment made. So lifetime customer value is the average patient spend times the number of times of visits in the year times the number of years a patient stays with your practice on average, plus, of course, the referrals. So we used Mary again as an example, and we came up with $65 times 18 visits a year times 5 years, which is about $5,850. It's a little over $1,000 a year. So ask yourself, would you spend that marketing money to acquire Mary if she was worth $5,850 to your business plus referrals? I hope you said yes. And if you need to look at how much money you're currently putting toward acquisition, please do. So once you have her, do you agree that it would make sense to do everything you can to nurture the relationship you have with her, to retain her? I imagine once more, you're going to say yes. So when you understand this significant marketing principle of lifetime value, you'll see that you can now justify a much greater advertising or marketing investment when you're acquiring new patients for growth, as your competitors are oftentimes not spending that money to make this happen. It can give you a competitive advantage. You can also see how important it is to focus on providing excellent customer service to retain these new patients, as well as consider additional ways to meet their needs. And that statement, additional ways to meet their needs, is actually what brings me to the strategy of product line extensions. In order to look at product line extensions, we're going to first look at Apple. As you know, Apple started off as a computer company. Then they did a product line extension, and they added the iPod and the iPhone and the iPad. So what happened is the people buying the Apple computers that really loved Apple, they would also buy these other products, which made Apple a far more profitable company. So one proven strategy to build a business is a product line extension. So the scanner technology, think of it like what Apple did with adding the iPhone to their business. The people that are coming to your practice for chiropractic, many of them are great candidates for the scanner. So you can create additional revenue from the patients you're already seeing. One thing that's great about the scanner is that it fits like a glove with chiropractic. It's really a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to add this in because the patient is coming to see you and they have these painful injuries and painful neurological conditions, and the chiropractic does what it can do, and the scanner helps the patient, but in a different way. So it doesn't take away at all from the chiropractic work you're doing, and it increases the number of times the patient is going to be coming into the practice. So let's look at a couple of ways that integrating scanner into your practice could look from a financial perspective. Let's just say you wanted to dabble in it a bit, and you treat 4 patients per month with the scanner. So 4 people a month, time an average of 15 sessions, to solve their problem if it's a chronic issue, times an average fee of $65 is $3,900 straight to the bottom line with no additional marketing expense, because these people are in your practice already. Now, let's say you're more than a dabbler. If you're going to get started, you're somebody who's really going to be interested in doing more integration. And let's say that you have 10 people a month, and it's an average of 15 sessions to solve their problem at $65 a session. That's close to $10,000 straight to the bottom line with no additional marketing expense. Or you might figure in your chiropractic assistant labor rate as they begin to assist you with the treatments. And as a part of our training program, you can include chiropractic assistants. And after you see the patient and prescribe their scanner treatment plan, they may execute a number of those sessions for you. Let's go one more time. Let's say that you fully integrate this into your practice in a bigger way. And I just picked the number of 20 patients per month. Could be even higher than that. But look at what 20 patients a month does on an average of 15 sessions each at $65 a session. We're talking about $19,500 to your bottom line, or taking $19,500 and just subtracting your chiropractic assistant labor cost, but still considerable money to your bottom line. So as a chiropractor watching this, you could ignore this and you could continue on practicing as you have been. And you know what your revenue is and how much you're able to generate, and you know how hard you're working, so you would continue to produce some more results. Or you can add this in. And by adding this in, you will have all the revenue you would have had anyway, Plus, you'll have all the new revenue that would be coming from it. Imagine that you're just dabbling and generating an initial $3,900 that's going straight to your bottom line. What would that mean to you? You might be listening to me right now and you've been wanting to hire an assistant, and so you'd have the money to do it. Or maybe you've been wanting to add additional office space. Or maybe you've been wanting to advertise in a particular publication to get more clients. Or maybe you want to take a day off once in a while to play golf. An extra $3,900 or nearly $10,000 or more on top of your business, it gives you a lot of choices. And so one of the things we love about not only helping patients is about helping the chiropractor's life go so much better as well. This is why we do what we do. Everybody wins. If we didn't love this so much, we would simply stay in our practice and we'd offer SCENAR to as many people as we could treat in a day and a week. That is rewarding, don't get me wrong. It's just more rewarding to help more people have access to the results of this great technology by working with expert healers such as yourself around the country. Now, on that note, I'd like to tell you about one of our awesome chiropractic clients. His name is Dr. Patrick Owen. He's from Salem, Oregon. And on the slide, you see him with his wife and his business partner, Janet. Patrick may be like many of you listening in several respects. Dr. Owen graduated from Western State University in December of 1985, and he began practicing as an associate doctor in the summer of the next year. He worked for a few years in that capacity, and then he purchased Woodburn Chiropractic in 1990, and he built it into one of the largest practices in the state of Oregon. He had a massage therapist. He had a rehab center. He actually sold the practice to a large company that had offices throughout the country, and they brought in physical therapists and a medical doctor and created an integrative practice. And he stayed on and he worked with them as the clinic director until 1999. But then he left to purchase the Relax the Back store in Tigard, Oregon, and he made that store $1 million store for 2 years in a row. In 2005, he closed up the store and he went back to chiropractic in Salem, Oregon. I tell you all of this about Dr. Owen to really show his entrepreneurship, to show his business savviness. He really had a track record of business success. Now, he actually learned about SCENAR from one of his patients, and she'd been suffering in severe pain for about 15 years after many car accidents and failed surgeries. She actually purchased a SCENAR for herself. And by the way, there is a revenue stream in that for you as a business owner as well. I want you to ask about that during your interview with one of our experts. So this patient of Dr. Owens was receiving big benefits from her SCENAR, and she almost insisted, really, that he look at this and that he purchase one so that she could refer patients into his office to receive the therapy. And he understood the principle of lifetime value and product line extension. The problem he had, though, initially when he started talking to us was around cost. And it was specifically that he hadn't been planning any expenditure related to new services for his clients at the time. Wasn't in his budget for the year. So he was really concerned about how quickly he would recover his investment. And during the consultation with our expert about his specific practice, we ran the numbers and demonstrated that he would get return on investment with an average of 8 clients. We were also able to demonstrate to him that with the knowledge and support we would offer him, that he could get this return quickly. And you'll learn more about that as well, is how we help you get those clients in the door so that you can get a quick return on your investment. So he purchased a SCENAR, and this is what he had to say. The SCENAR has been a huge benefit to my patients. I am getting results that I've not been able to get with any other modalities or treatments. It's increased my patient load because other people want their friends and relatives to experience this treatment. One of the first people that he tried this on was his sister-in-law. Now, she lived a few towns away. She had a chiropractor in her town, and of course she had her medical doctor, and she had a herniated disc. And both of these professionals actually told her that they couldn't help her until her inflammation and her pain levels had been reduced. So Patrick met her on a Saturday at his office, and she got out of the car and she hobbled in kind of on one leg because of her back pain and her leg pain. And he says, I treated her according to the protocols that Dr. Lathrop had taught me in my scanner training. She walked out of my office pain-free on both legs. She could not have been happier. She thought that she had experienced a miracle, and I thought, in fact, she had as well. He said, this has been a wonderful addition to my arsenal to fight pain and to bring healing to my patients. Patrick has actually had several of his clients now continue to see him, but also get their own home unit scanners. So he's begun to tap into that additional revenue stream that is possible for you. Well, let's shift our focus now. We've looked at customer lifetime value and product line extension as being key principles in growing and strengthening your business. Let's shift our focus now to looking at your unique proposition, another key business principle. So acquiring and keeping patients. Yes, it's important in a chiropractic practice, right? When a patient comes to you, he or she is essentially buying you. Chiropractic is a personality-driven business, isn't it? I mean, just as I look at all of these advertisements, look at several of them have actually the picture of the chiropractor. They have all different kinds of messages speaking to people out there, trying to educate them and draw them in for chiropractic. The more people that know about you, or the more people that know about your services, the more people that will come to you. So how you get your message out depends on many things, right? But most namely, it depends on your time and your budget. In the present economy, you don't get really a second chance to make a good first impression. And therefore, it's really imperative that your chiropractic marketing plan is carefully constructed. To construct a proper plan, it's essential that you develop your unique value proposition. Sometimes you'll hear people call it your unique selling proposition. I actually like unique value proposition much more, and so we'll focus on that. When you pair your unique value proposition with a correct, strategically created marketing plan, amazing things can happen. So I'm curious, what is your practice's unique value proposition? Do you know? Are you clear? Make a note if you know you have work to do in this arena. Inclusion of SCENAR into your practice, since it fits like a glove with chiropractic, can add to your value proposition, to your unique value proposition. And it can really set you apart from other chiropractors in your area. This has been the experience of another of our chiropractic clients, Dr. Dave Schlute from Long Beach, California. And I'd like to talk with you about him. Dr. Schlute shared with us how pleased he's been with his investment in SCENAR and how it definitely helped him to grow his practice, offering a modality very few chiropractors have in the greater Long Beach area. And here you see a picture of Dr. Dave, a little bit more casual. He is a very active guy, and I just love this picture about him. I want to tell you a little bit about him. He was born and raised in Colorado, where he received his bachelor's degree in exercise and sports science with a concentration in wellness from Colorado State University. He then went to the esteemed Colorado Academy of Therapeutic Massage, and he became licensed as a massage therapist before he moved to California. Once in California, he completed his doctorate of chiropractic degree, and he passed the essential California State Board exams to become licensed as a chiropractor. His combined blend of knowledge and experience with his bachelor's degree, personal training, massage therapy, and chiropractic is a rare find. He's been helping a wide range of people, from dancers and cyclists and runners and professional athletes to office workers, firemen, teachers, and the general public, all helping to help them live healthier lives. Dave himself lives a very active lifestyle, and he owns and operates his own chiropractic and wellness practice in Long Beach, California. And here's what Dave shared, and I'm going to offer this to you in his own words. He said, I consider RITM Scanner to be an essential tool for my business as well as my personal life. I use it in approximately 75% of my treatments, combined with adjustments and some soft tissue work. SCENAR has allowed me to treat patients who were otherwise adverse to chiropractic adjustments and has offered me more options to get patients out of pain. I was referred to Dr. Peter Lathrop in San Diego, who's an expert on SCENAR therapy, and I was later trained by him on how to use the device. He then went on to say, because I asked him if he had a case that he wanted to share, and he said, I had a 39-year-old who was 5 months pregnant, who developed a herniated disc in her lumbar spine, as well as degenerative disc disease. She was in some of the most extreme pain I've ever seen a patient in, yet couldn't take virtually any medication because of her pregnancy. SCENAR therapy was the only thing which offered her relief non-invasively and helped her get through the remaining 4 months of her pregnancy. I honestly don't know, he said, how she would have made it through those 4 months without the SCENAR. He then said, I've been very pleased with my investment in the SCENAR, and it's definitely helped to grow my practice. I offer a modality very few chiropractors or therapists have in the greater Long Beach area. He concluded by saying, I hope you're both doing well. And that was meant for Peter and I. And he said, let us know if there's anything I can do to expand SCENAR therapy in Southern California and beyond. We certainly want to get Dave on our team of trainers in the near future. And we'd like to talk with you about you joining us as well. If you have patients with challenging pain problems or unresolved chronic injuries, or who simply newly injure themselves, and who doesn't? Or if you want to attract new practice members and help them get pain-free, drug-free, and you're seeking additional streams of revenue for your practice, then take action. Know that we are the ones to work with. Given our years of experience in regenerative electromedicine for neuromuscular injuries, given our proven business systems, our unyielding support through training and marketing, etc., given our training, given this innovative therapeutic approach, given our team, and given what's happening in healthcare today, we know that we can help you with your success. So what I'd like to do now is share with you how you can request an interview to join the Neuroadaptive Science Institute, which is what we call our training, our program, etc., the Neuroadaptive Science Institute. And that's actually new for us, so that's fun for me to say. So that you can bring the technology into your chiropractic practice. When we work with chiropractors, we actually have several different levels of program based on your needs. The 3 core components of the program are obviously the product first, the device and the attachments, then the training support, and then marketing support. We will hold you by the hand, guiding you step by step as you learn how to use the technology with various conditions. We also teach you how to introduce this new therapy program to your existing patients and how to introduce it to attract new patients into your business. So this can be a turnkey operation where you can be up and running immediately in a very short period of time. We want you to know that unlike perhaps other companies who may have helped you to purchase a piece of equipment, we don't do that and leave. We really have a passion for making sure that you know how to use it, that you know how to introduce it to your practice members, and that you can use it to attract new patients to your practice. So when I say it can be a turnkey operation, I mean exactly that. The next step for you is to request a no-cost, no-obligation interview with one of our experts. And the way the interview is going to work is we're going to talk to you about your situation, ask you questions to get to know better everything about you. We're going to answer all your questions. And then once all the questions have been answered, at that point, you will have the opportunity to join the Institute and add SCENAR to your practice. To request your interview, look below. Click on the button below the video. It will take you to a page to request an interview with one of our experts. Or on that page, you will actually see a number that you can call or text to express your interest and schedule your interview. In all cases, you'll be connected to one of our experts for your chiropractic SCENAR interview. Again, it's a no-cost, no-obligation interview to learn more, to get your questions answered, and to be able to join the Institute. And if you take action now, as you're watching this webinar, and request your interview, and if you participate in that interview within the next 2 weeks, you'll receive Dr. Lathrop's 2-volume, 940-page textbook set called Modern Electromedicine. The retail value of the 2-volume set is $100 on Amazon. So click the button below. Let's meet. Let's explore what's possible for your practice. Thanks for watching. We're excited to help you make your practice goals and dreams come true. So take action. Request your interview. Let's meet soon. Bye for now.